You're listening to Artistic Finance, show 172, a pre-LDI bonus episode. On today's show, we talk personal finances with Alex Pendleton, manager of Netgear's ProAV Systems Engineering department. We discuss paying yourself first, investing as much as possible, and long-term investing apart from news cycles. There's video of the interview on YouTube, and you can find a link to that in the description box of the show or at artisticfinance.com/172bonus. Without further ado, let's get to the show.
You are listening to Artistic Finance, where we help creatives learn about the business of show business.
Welcome and thank you for listening. I'm your host, Ethan Steimel, broadcasting from Lake St. Louis, Missouri.
And I'm your co-host, Ellen Lampert-Gréaux, Creative Director for LDI, and I'm calling in from the tropical island of St. Bart's.
And I'm Alex Pendleton. I'm with Netgear AV, and I'm coming to you from San Diego, California.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. So tell us a little bit about your day-to-day responsibilities at Netgear.
Well, we have a few things. One is we have a primary contact for the AV industry that is the ProAV design at netgear.com. That can be anyone from a top-tier integrator, manufacturer, end user. They come in through that inbox, and then we address whatever concerns, whether it be pre or post-sales events, anything from different manufacturer testing that might be done, need to be done, or large scale design. All of that comes in through the funnel, essentially through that inbox, and then we filter that into a team of about 5. Now, I manage the team in the North America territory. Then we have a global team of 22 that is run by my manager, Laurent Mazia. So my day to day is kind of different. It involves a lot of travel because we've been helping out our sales team do some of the trainings that we've had to get done around the U.S. this year, which has led to a very exciting and growth period for this AV team.
That's great. So in terms of live events, what kind do you like to go to?
Well, myself, I always do like a club night. I used to go to a place in San Francisco almost every Sunday, Stamina Sundays, drum and bass music free. So I like that type of stuff. But I've always been going to concerts and live events for pretty much my whole life.
And does Netgear have a direct relationship to the concert world?
We supply the networking hardware that allows for the lighting technology to be quickly assembled, deployed, and pulled back and set up for the next show, or even factory reset for the next show. When you talk about live events, I mean, Tomorrowland, Comic-Con, TwitchCon, you could go on a list of large-scale live events with large-scale lighting that we've been at the centerpiece. So we make Ethernet networking switches that support those type of environments.
That's exciting. So on a personal level, would you say you are good, bad, or neutral with money?
I'm pretty good. I was very bad for many years. I didn't necessarily do what I probably should have done at the start of my career. I didn't really focus on long-term initiatives, but at the end of 2023, I've primarily just done a large focus on how to save money and budget my money and be a little bit smarter about it.
I guess you have a full-time job. Do you do any freelancing at all?
No freelancing.
Okay, so what is the biggest financial lesson you've learned in your career so far?
Invest as much as you can. A lot of the scenarios will be what I can afford versus what I've stored. The biggest question that I seem to be coming up against is, do I pay myself first? Do I pay my bills? Paying yourself first, it gives you the dividends. Yes, you got to pay your bills. Yes, you got to be on time, and don't pull off more than you can chew. But investing in yourself and focusing on this strange financial climate out there is a good idea, because you'll start to pick up on those patterns. And investing in that long-term future of yours first, before going out and paying the rest of the ones who are looking for your money, is a good omen. The second thing is if you look at like paying $360 for television and phone and internet or something like that, if you look at that at like a monthly cost, and you try to reduce that cost as much as you can and take that excess money that you have and invest that, even that could be a great helpful thing. And then the third thing I'll say, I started an Acorns account, which I think is a great way of investing. It does a small amount of transactions. So every time you make a purchase with your debit card or whatever, it takes and rounds that up to an even number, and then it takes that up to $5, then invests that $5 for you, so that you kind of just invest without even thinking about it. That's another excellent way of storing and collecting.
Can I tangent on that? Just because I've never done Acorns, but I've heard a lot of people do it, and it seems like an amazing thing. And we've had some crazy examples on this show of like people using it and then being like, "I have $10,000," and I'm like, "What? How did that happen?" I always thought it rounded up to the next dollar. Did you say it rounds up to the next $5?
No, it rounds up to next dollar, and then once they have the $5, then they invest that $5.
Okay, I got it. That makes total sense. Okay, thanks for clarifying.
I always thought it was like it just rounded it up and invested that small amount of change, but no, that's actually not. But it also builds you an investment profile based on who and kind of what your mentality is, because it asks you a bunch of questions and then goes through and builds you a portfolio. Like if you want to be a little bit aggressive, if you want to stay more safe, and it invests kind of for you. I mean, at the beginning of August, we had an extreme downturn in the stock market, and it was hit there. It's not like it was any different. Like those indexes were hit as well. So yeah, it's a great way and for young people too. I tell my children all the time, start your Acorns account. One of them did, one of them still on the fence, but I'm like, if the sooner you start, the more you can start saving.
Yeah. And another thing I love about it is that you cannot have any self-control. You can know nothing about investing, and it will help you.
Right.
Like you hear enough people say like, this is a good thing, but it just does it all for you. You just have to take that initiative and sign up for it. Okay. All right, Ellen, back to you.
Oh, well, Alex, I think you sound really savvy. So, are there tools, software, resources that you use to keep all this in line?
I'm more of a long term, so I'll pay attention to like Bloomberg. I listen to a lot of financial stuff going on. Paul Sweeney's my guy. I love Alex Steele. Those two are so fun to listen to. But I just catch up on it every day, just kind of see what's going on, and then you kind of pick up on like little patterns here and there. A good thing is look at Apple when they're about to do their developer conference. That's a good pattern that if you're looking for stuff to go up and down. If it was down before, it's going to go up after the developer conference because of excitement that gets around whatever new product they're coming out with. It seems like anything Elon says, it just works out. Nvidia. So I like to focus on listening to the public. I don't have any software that I specifically utilize, because I have like my trading accounts and I'll read the news from those. But really, when you're doing isolated stuff like that, it's all about the perception. If it's not about perception and you want the long term, then set and forget. Pick what's going to work for you best, like Acorns or maybe another index or another retirement or money market or something, and then just give money to that religiously and always pay yourself, and then you won't need to focus on tools or try to analyze what all of the candles mean or any of that stuff.
That sounds very good. I love listening to Bloomberg and some of those other people. I'm a Dave Ramsey fan myself, although.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Phenomenal.
He does sell mutual funds. So sometimes you have to wonder if he's pushing them because he makes money off the deal. But his baby steps, I mean, he really is a good place to start.
And his mantra is pay cash for everything. Never buy anything off of plastic.
That's what I say. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. I know it's kind of scary, but has networking and relationship building within the industry helped you financially over the years?
Oh, I would like to think so. one thing that I've been able to do, luckily, is to get into a lot of our integrator shows, go to our networking events, our trade shows, and be able to meet the people that we're working with all the time. Like LDI, for example, is a great one. We met a company that was building a truck that was going to be doing, a broadcast level system that was going to be mobile. We met them at LDI. Like they walked up into our cube, and then we ended up doing business with them and had a really successful. They filmed now 7 total shows with that truck, and they're just super solid. And that's the type of thing I would imagine. While I've been able to, get promoted at Netgear and start to manage the team here in the U.S., I would like to think that those relationships directly affected our sales number, which directly reflected our performance as a team, and then led to those types of things. So over the time that I've been working in the ProAV side of things, 2019 is when I started. Yeah, significantly I've gained from the relationships and also made lifelong friends. The AV world, I can tell you, the live broadcast world, everyone talks to everyone. So if you do a good job with one group, you're likely to have the opportunity to do work and do a good job for another group. So yeah, those relationships have directly benefited us significantly.
Is NAB also a big show for you?
100%. We're actually going to the October NAB in New York. I don't know if we'll have a sign, but we'll have our OEM accounts manager, Devin Kress, Todd Musgrave, who's brought to us out of the broadcast industry. He actually has more cameras in space than any other human ever. He worked at Marshall Cameras before Netgear. He'll be there. And we'll have a demonstration there. We'll have a network. We'll have a rack. Broadcast is an initiative for 2024 that we've pushed off. We now can support Boundary Clock and Grandmaster Clock on 2 of our models. So we're really pushing into that. And as we grow, as we become more and more effective in these parts of the industries, we'll actually have a better system down the road to add to what we've already produced. And it's as we learn. Every time we learn a new segment, we innovate there, and that's kind of the Netgear way.
That's exciting. It's exciting to see the technology grow and to take you into new growth areas.
Well, interestingly enough, I'm probably not going to say things that my company is 100% wanting me to say, but we have fully managed layer 3 switches that are really, really powerful. They can do extreme video routing. They do excellent time preservation for audio and video. And LDI being a lighting conference, it's only really scratching the surface on what it can do, right? Instead of running all that DMX cabling, you can do it over Ethernet now. And having an SACN system will allow you to really rock the show and really tie it to the audio and have this immersive experience. All that is done with this strong Ethernet capability of a lot of these products coming out of companies like ETC and stuff like that. So what I'll probably be talking about is a little bit that, yeah, we make a really powerful switch. Do you absolutely need that powerful switch? Maybe not. Depends on the deployment. Talk to us. We'll do our best to help you out. We do have a lighting profile for SACN, MANet, and ArtNet. When you're doing MANet, you're going to need a really powerful switch. The Super Bowl halftime shows all run on Netgear. Yeah, that's what I'm going to be talking about mainly is what we offer the industry, what the industry's necessities are, which aren't necessarily really high powerful switches that, are fully layer 3 managed, but the benefits you get from having fully layer 3 managed are very evident, but they don't always require it.
But you are actually teaching a full day class or a half day class, right?
Right. And we'll go through not 100% what we do the trainings on. I'll give like a very light version of it, kind of like the half of it, because there's some stuff we'll have to go through, obviously, theory wise. But once we do that, then we'll do some more hands-on type stuff.
All right. I like to ask this question, which is if you have any time at LDI outside of the show floor, is there anything on a personal level you're looking forward to doing while you're there at LDI?
I've been going to Las Vegas for a long time. So I'll probably see if a friend wants to have lunch. My fiance may join me to LDI in Vegas, depending on her schedule. When we do, we'll like to see some attractions or gamble, lose a little bit of money, something like that.
Don't gamble too much. Not good for artistic finance.
Maybe go see like Cirque du Soleil or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Alex, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Of course, anytime.
I look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas.
That's it for today's interview. My takeaways are Alex isn't a freelancer. We can see how that helps simplify finances and taxes. And maybe it has nothing to do with Alex's view on money, but it does seem to allow him to not sweat it and set and forget it with a routine. Alex is good with money. I always love hearing people say that, but note that he said he was bad and has been on a good track since the end of 2023. He says he's budgeting and being smarter with money. And I will say that anybody who watches Bloomberg is probably in touch with money and finance. Invest as much as you can. That's simply stated, and following up on that in an effort to prioritize investing more, he asked what I can afford versus what I have stored. Now, this tied in later to his Dave Ramsey takeaway of pay cash for everything. And this all sounds well and good, but what does affording it actually mean, you know? And so it turns out there's an article on thefinancialdiet.com that answers this question of can I afford it? Now it's really basic, but it lays out a few steps to answer that question, or at least answer it for yourself. And roughly it boils down to, are you saving 10% for retirement? Do you have an emergency fund? And do you have any high interest debt? Now, if you're in good shape for those questions, then you can technically afford it. But then it goes a bit more into should you purchase it? I'll post a link to that article in the show notes because it's in line with the pay cash for everything philosophy, but not to the Dave Ramsey extreme. Now, that being said, cash for everything isn't a bad way to live. It's definitely secure and mentally freeing. The age-old question, do I pay myself first or do I pay my bills first? Alex says, pay yourself first. It's always an ongoing, strange financial environment, just no matter at what point we are living in history. So pay yourself first before letting that money go out the door to other people who are seeking that money. People like me and my Patreon for this show, because I'm one of those people that is seeking your money. So pay yourself first before you subscribe to the Artistic Finance Patreon. Like if you're sitting there listening and you're thinking, you know, I want to support Ethan and be a patron, but I should also invest $5 a month for myself. All right. Even though I do have a dog in this fight, I say energetically, pay yourself first. But more of what Alex said. Looking at monthly bills and trying to squeeze them tighter and using the excess to invest. Now, he's not saying go without anything, but take a look, see if there's anything that you can do without for a while. Now, recently, people have been canceling their New York Times subscriptions. So if that was you, that's $25 a month, which you might have free now. And maybe you can set up an auto investment into your Roth IRA. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Though let me tell a little story here about cable television. That's something Nicole and I had for 10 years, and mostly because we watched the Food Network and ABC's 25 Days of Christmas and also the 30 Days of Halloween. But other than that, we never really needed it, but you know, we kept it, blah, blah, blah. We moved to Arizona, and that's when we finally cut it out. And then when we subsequently moved to Missouri, we've just kept living without it. And I do have to say that the way there's so many subscriptions now that we have access to so much content already that we never miss the Food Network ever. Also, just side note that our TV is a Roku TV and they have a free channel. So I imagine that all TVs have something like this. But anyway, you can actually like surf TV within the Roku app. So if that's something you want in your life, and you don't want to give up cable because of that, you can do it on the TVs. Anyway, now, did Nicole and I take the $1,200 a year that we're not spending on cable and invest it? We did not. Classic. But thanks to Alex for the reminder, because I did go talk to Nicole and we put that money into Theo's brokerage account. Here's a side tangent here, that a brokerage account. So even though Elon Musk is doing his best to devalue the dollar and make cryptocurrency a thing now, brokerage accounts are still the way to invest. And if you're wondering why we didn't put it into an education fund, it's because I can't seem to understand Missouri's 529 tax break. It seems I can open up an account and they call it a most, but it's a clunky website. And so I want to talk to some other parents to find out if they're using the Missouri plan or not. Anyway, so I'm holding off on that until I talk to other people. But moral of the story here, make sure you're investing. So if you're cutting costs somewhere, make sure you do something useful with that money. Acorn. So every time you swipe your card, it rounds it up. Honestly, not a bad thing to sign up for. Now, 4 years ago, we had several guests and some listeners who were using Acorns, and they were all very happy. And I'm glad to hear that people are still using it successfully. Now, on an upcoming episode with Travis McHale, I talk about how my finances have not been automated since the pandemic, which means that now I probably need to sign up for something like Acorns to help me get a little bit more automated, rather than just trusting myself to make the right allotments sporadically throughout the year, because I will not do that. Alex listens to Bloomberg, which is tracking the markets 24 hours a day. Now, he mentions that financial news is all about perception. So if something is on the news, it's there because people are perceiving it a certain way, which impacts its ups and downs. Alex said listening to the news every day, he does notice patterns, but what you don't want to do is listen and just sort of look for ups and downs and make investing decisions based on the news of the day. So Alex's thoughts are invest in an index because those aren't on the news, which means that they're a long-term play. Indexes are just business as usual and they're churning along, and that makes it perfect for retirement investments. And Alex said, just purchase the index and religiously pay into it. And something I love about Alex's take is that whether you invest in individual things or indexes, there isn't a right or wrong. It's up to you how you do it, but the important thing is that you do it. It's okay, class. Are we all saving and investing? Good. All right, let's move on. Networking. Yes, it's important. And what I love about Alex's answer to this was that he gave a great pitch for LDI. Now, it's from a business's perspective of connecting with a new client, but a company walked into the Netgear booth and they've now done 7 gigs with them. That's all from going to LDI. Networking class. Now, Alex is teaching that. It's Saturday, December 7th. Now, I'm not actually getting in until noon that day, so I'm not going to make it. It also seems a little more in-depth than I need, but networking is sort of a new normal and I want to wrap my head around it. So I'm going to try to find out more. LDI is just 3 weeks away. Now, if you can get to Vegas for it, we can get you a free conference registration. Use promo code Artistic Finance, and that gets you an Expo Hall pass, which gets you in the door, and then a lot of sessions like the 2 Artistic Finance podcast recordings we're going to be doing. I would definitely love to see you. It's 11 a.m. on the 8th and 11 a.m. on the 9th. The podcast studio is very far from the show floor, so you have to make an effort to get there. But please do come and listen in because the energy in the room goes up with people entering the room. We're going to do the recording no matter what, but if we have people there, it makes it more fun. On the 8th, we'll be talking about large-scale events, both design process and budget. The recording on the 9th is going to be financial independence topics. That's led by Amy Deluxe, who is a bit of a wild card. And I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be talking about that day, but it's going to be good, I'm sure, because the people are great. 3 of them are actually programmers, so that's cool. So if you're lucky enough to get to LDI, please stop by and listen in. I'm an introvert, but I do love meeting people, especially if you listen to this show, just because we're such a small group of people. It's amazing to me that we get across paths in real life. All right. If you remember from last episode, I have joined the social media platform Blue Sky. I did this sort of as a reaction from the election results, which means that I'm now getting news updates and I'm in the loop, I guess, with what's going on in the world. But wow, there's an anti-trans rule being put in place at the Capitol, and it's just weird, especially because they implemented this rule on the Trans Day of Remembrance, which is rude to say the least. So I just want to say out loud that making trans women use men's restrooms is immoral. It's also government overreach and it's pandering. And that is okay to play political games, sort of like to distract from important issues, but it's not okay because it's negatively affecting people's lives. So it's very unethical. If we look at our values as human beings, we don't need much, but we do need equality, we need fairness, and we need a chance for everybody to pursue happiness. What we don't need to be doing is making trans people criminals for using the bathroom of their gender. So to our trans friends listening in, we love you, we respect you, and we've got your back. And to transition into a new topic, sorry. If you enjoy the podcast and you want to help keep it going, consider becoming a patron. Patrons get early access to episodes and ad-free listening, plus the satisfaction of knowing you're helping making this valuable content available to everyone for free. I'm working toward covering production costs, and every bit of support truly does make a difference. If you'd like to join, head to patreon.com/artisticfinance. And thank you so much for being a part of the community. The dad joke to end the episode, a reminder to automate your retirement investing to get your financial net in gear. Okay, I felt like I had to do a Netgear joke, but that was the best I could come up with. So here's an unrelated one that has to do with Nicole, my lovely wife. All right, when I was giving her a pep talk earlier today, I told her she should embrace her mistakes. So she gave me a hug. That's it for today. Until next time, break a leg.
Thank you for listening to Artistic Finance, where we interview successful artists, leaders, and investors to help educate and inspire the creative community. To access our show notes and resources, go to artisticfinance.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any decision, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Artistic Finance. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.